Mwau and Helef Khalifa. It's basically an edited version of the petition that had been filed on the eve of the presidential election that was hit by a quorum hitch. And Mwau and Helef Khalifa won the Supreme Court to cancel the presidential election conducted on the 26th because in their argument the process was not conducted in a free, fair and credible manner, and that the environment was not right for the conduct of an election that was free of intimidation and violence. And secondly, they are arguing, just like John Harun Mwau, that a repeat presidential election or a fresh presidential election should have been preceded by fresh nominations, and that IEBC made a mistake in law by failing to conduct those nominations. And so basically they're saying that the entire election conducted on the 26th is a nullity because it was not preceded by fresh nominations. And thirdly, just like Harun Mwau, they are arguing that the withdrawal of NASA leader Raila Odinga from the race should have necessitated a fresh presidential, should have necessitated a cancellation of the presidential election and a conduct of the same after nominations have been conducted. And it's also the argument that the election should have been conducted in the 290 constituencies, and that failure to conduct the election in 25 constituencies because of security reasons, as outlined by IEBC, as it were, meant that the residents in those areas were deprived their right to participate in an election. And also there are two petitioners from Huruma here in Nairobi, John Chengo and George Bush. They also want to file a petition at the Supreme Court. However, they are making a prayer to the Supreme Court registrar that they cannot afford the 1.5 million shillings that is required as security for filing a petition. And so they are saying that they want to be exempted from paying that fee, and that they be allowed to file a petition contesting the re-election of President Uhuru Kenyatta on the 26th. So yes, the swearing-in ceremony that would have been conducted on the 14th of this month, if there was no petition, then means that it cannot happen, and that the Supreme Court from today count 14 days. That's the period that the apex court in the land has to hear and determine the petition or petitions that will have been accepted by the registry, and eventually make a decision on whether the swearing-in ceremony of President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto will proceed. And if they dismiss that case, that will be on the 28th of this month. And if the petitioners, their prayers are granted and the election cancelled, then the Kenyan electorate will have to prepare to return to the ballot mid-January.
Thanks, Kishore. It's about 5 past the hour. We'll be checking in with you a little later on Monday Special to see whether indeed we'll have a second petition properly before the court. Francis Kishore reporting for us live from the Supreme Court. We'll return to that location very shortly.